So, welcome to the Environmental Action Committee. I am the chair of the committee. My name is Sarah Lewis, and I'm one of the Ward 4 City Council members. And today I have an agenda over here on the board. I'd like to quickly do some follow-ups. John Pennington had mentioned coming to discuss the signage for native plants, and he said he could. I thought it was this meeting, but maybe I don't know that we may have gotten our communication a little off. I know he wants to come and get your input on that, so we can figure that out if he comes.
Yes. Well, and Carrie and I have been working on the.
You've been working on the language,
yes.
Right? And I can't comment as well. It's been a great. I love that kind of group editing is really important. So he wanted to get this committee's endorsement on the project, and so that I think it's a good idea, and I hope that we can support that. And then I have the ordinance language the city attorney's office worked on in regards to the National Wildlife Federation project that would be a permanent, really, project for the EAC to maintain. So I want to share that with you. And then also I've been here. I've got some emails from people. One from you I thought was good. I didn't get a chance to respond, but I read your idea. And then Richard has a good idea. And then so if we have time, I'd like to just mention those. We can't really get into them to be thinking about these, that we may tackle those. So you were about to start. Let's talk about some of the follow-ups as far as communicating, getting people to sign up.
Yeah. Have more people signed up?
More people have signed up.
And we're talking about the what?
Habitat. Yeah, the National Wildlife Federation, our community wildlife habitat project. We, to get certified as a community, have met all of our goals except for we need a few more homes certified. And the last I checked, we were at around 65 that we needed. So we've knocked off a few more. And Fayetteville Natural Heritage Association has funded 50 prepaid. So when you apply, it costs $20. Unless you ask for, if you need assistance with that, there's information going out to email me, and they can get a prepaid application so they don't have to fund the $20 themselves. And I have already gotten one request, and I should be getting those physically from the National Wildlife Federation. They have to print them.
Oh, okay.
They're co-branded and numbered, and so anyway, that's going to help, I think, once we can really start promoting that. When I have them in my hands. But yeah, we're still plugging along and getting the word out in all different ways that we can think of.
I want to get the word out to the school district, so if you, just something along there, because I want to say it. I wasn't sure about how the $20 refund worked, and what I need is kind of something that I can send out to everybody.
Okay, I would like to hear, did anyone have success in contacting the council? What was the response, like how did that go?
Well, I chose, should we mention names?
Sure.
Mark Kenyon, he didn't quite get the drift, but I was talking about residences, that we needed residences, although I explained quite a bit about what's in place. But he pointed out that he has a property certified, I believe it's biotech.
Oh, okay. So maybe we could follow up with him, or I can in person. So that helps. So I can in person just clarify that it could be his own house.
Yeah, you might.
Okay.
I don't know that anybody reads my voluminous emails, but I kind of hinted around at that.
He was one of the first businesses to certify, and sent me a note that he had done that.
Okay.
That, if he would do his house too, that would really help.
Do names appear on your account?
Yes.
Did you see my name?
I haven't gotten the most recent. They haven't
Congratulations.
sent it out. Thank you very
They got
much.
my
I will be seeing it. Yay!
And I talked to 3 or 4 people, and they were kind of going, I don't know, is this political? I said, I don't see
Sometimes
how
it takes 3 times. That's what I find is
Really?
the initial contact, how are things going, and then on that 3rd time they realize that it's real.
Okay, that's why I wanted a little more, because I got some, it was like Is there something underhanded
Yeah,
about
is
this?
there some agenda here that's not,
Just trying to better the community.
It's
Yeah.
unfortunate,
Yeah,
right,
isn't that
it's all,
agenda?
it's unfortunate that, you kinda want people to question everything, right? But, so I think that it's a process, so that, I always think about it as, create the file, you give them the information, and then they can put it in there, put it in the file. The first time you introduce it, they don't have anywhere to put it, but you have to create the file
yeah.
in their file cabinet.
Yeah.
So I've had verbal interaction with
Okay.
a couple of people, but I could see by the look that I need to follow up then with like an email attachment or something that
Yeah,
was,
that's what I need.
it's one thing to have a conversation, another to look at exactly where it's coming from and the criteria.
Well, there are issues too with the website,
Yeah.
and that has prevented a lot of people,
Oh,
so
really?
we've
Yeah, I went around
printed
with
up
hard
about
copy.
200 copies of the application.
It's been fixed for a while
Yeah.
now, though.
Oh, it
It's
is fixed?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, the only reason, and actually now I'm not so positive there was such a big problem with it, that the password is so that if you go online and you start your application process filling in, yeah, I have this and I have that, and you need to stop for some reason, it asks you on the upfront to create a password so you can save your application so that you can go off and do some things and come back, and then you just put in your password. So if it asks you for a password, that's all it's talking about. You make it up so you can come back to it. But I have had a few people since all that do it online now, and they've been fine.
Oh, good.
So that implies that you use plastic to pay.
Okay, so I guess I.
Yes, or you get the hard copy. Yeah.
So just keep, I guess, just kind of champion the people that you've identified and kind of check in with them and send them information or connect them. I'll volunteer Terry and Cindy, connect them to those folks if they, like, it's for real and yes.
Could you ask the two ladies here to move to the front, because when they talk, the
Oh,
camera
you
doesn't
can't tell
know
who's
who's
talking? Yeah, come on in, come on around here.
Is that you and me?
I think it- yeah.
Also, while we're moving around, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. I started talking about the agenda.
Okay.
I'm Angie Albright. Terry Lane. Andrew Gay.
Richard Russell.
Connie, Chris,
Cindy Cope.
Very good. Sarah Lewis and I had already introduced, so. Okay, so I guess I would just ask that, yeah, stay on that. I've spoken to a few people. I'm trying to get, I have my application on my kitchen counter, so I need to send it in. So I need to write one.
do we need to call you?
Okay, hold
Yeah,
on.
who's got Sarah's name to call?
Yeah.
Maybe if you
3
got-
times. Each of us 3 times.
I got it.
21 phone calls later.
If you've got a hard
Text,
copy, you
email.
could hand them an envelope with a stamp.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Oh, that is a really good idea. That's a good idea. Kind of like you're applying for, or sending in a letter of recommendation. You want them to, I've
Sure
done that
do.
before, send this in. Okay, so I want to share that along those same lines, you all indicated that you supported the idea of establishing the National Wildlife Federation as a project that up until that point, that right now, the task force is pushing to get Fayetteville certified. After that, and part of that certification is identifying a group that will maintain this for perpetuity. In order to get certified, there has to be, that's part of the scoring system. And the Environmental Action Committee, similar to the Tree and Landscape Committee, which is now the Urban Forestry Committee, has the project, the Tree Giveaway Program, which one, I think, is a really important program, but also it has made that committee, it gives it an identity, and then it can grow beyond that, but it gives it that core piece of project. And there have been times when the committee's gone, oh, what do we do, who are we, whatever, but you always have that project that helped keep you together. And I think from the EAC perspective, as a group, having a project that you are responsible for basically gives you reason to exist beyond the people that champion things now. So John Coleman worked with the city attorney's office to draft this language. So I'm going to read it out loud here. I have it here. This is the most recent draft. And ordinance amending section 3324, purposes and duties of Article 11, Environmental Action Committee of Chapter 33, departments, boards, commissions, and authorities of the Code of Fayetteville to provide additional authority related to the Community Wildlife Area certification. Now, some of that, I'm not sure if that, Community Wildlife Area certification, is that right? That doesn't seem right.
But it's about
It
areas.
could be tweaked, yeah.
Yeah, that can be changed. So think about how we went, that part I think we should, I guess I didn't even read the capital part. I'm reading
Maybe like
the
just-
ordinances in bold in capital, and then I read the section, I didn't read the capital line. So, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Fayetteville, Arkansas, Section 1, the City Council of the City of Fayetteville, Arkansas hereby amends this section, purposes and duties of the Environmental Action Committee, Chapter 33, departments, boards, commissions, and authorities of the City Code of Fayetteville to add a new subsection to the section which shall read as follows, and this is the meat of it. The Environmental Action Committee may coordinate all city efforts to obtain and maintain an annual certified community wildlife area designation through the National Wildlife Federation. So the part I added was, he put obtain, and I said and maintain.
Yeah,
Mhm.
very good.
The other part that's important there is that it says may and not shall.
I was gonna ask about that, yeah.
Because if we decide, we don't know, we don't want, so in the future, this group may say, I don't know, it's just, it provides it as an option. And it also then allows for the certification. So,
But it has that same language problem as the other piece, doesn't it, with the,
Yeah,
I think
and
this
they
part is
maintain
okay.
certification, community wildlife habitat certification status. I don't know.
because it's not exactly
Yeah,
the same
it's not
wording
right, yeah.
as the
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means
National
even.
Wildlife Federation one.
Yeah, so to obtain and maintain an annual certified community wildlife habitat.
Okay, I need, it's hard for me to do without
Sorry,
looking
I
at
know.
it. That's okay. I think it would be
Here.
to,
just pass
what was it,
okay.
maintain?
Obtain and maintain.
Obtain and maintain.
Uh-huh.
To obtain and maintain the annual certified community wildlife habitat
Designation.
designation, leave out area, yeah.
So we're saying that again, annual what?
Okay, so the Environmental Action Committee may coordinate all city efforts to obtain and maintain an annual certified community wildlife habitat designation through the National Wildlife Federation.
So it's only a one-word change.
An annual certified community wildlife habitat designation. It's really
Right.
area to habitat.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, then you don't have to provide meets and bounds.
To provide what?
Meets and bounds. You don't
Oh.
have to start describing areas, you just
Yeah.
going to the designation.
So it's the same up above, to community wildlife habitat certification.
Uh-huh.
It'd be the same thing, right?
Yes, to provide additional authority related to community wildlife habitat certification.
Okay. So, and then the same thing, I guess, up above.
Yeah,
That was what we were just talking
Oh,
about.
sorry.
But, and do you have to say National Wildlife Federation in this part up here too?
Oh, yeah, I
Because
don't.
it could be anybody's, right?
Mhm.
I mean, it says down here National Wildlife, but,
Yeah, in the
they are
ordinance
the
language.
certifying body.
right, but they're not mentioned in this all caps part.
So the part that goes in the ordinance will be that section. The part that goes in the code.
Is not the all caps.
Right, but maybe,
That's just
I
a
don't know.
description.
Yeah, we could put that, so, and off, and authorities of the city of the code of city, sorry, and commissions and authorities of the code of Fayetteville to provide additional authority related to the National Wildlife Federation Community Wildlife Habitat Certification.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And I don't know if it matters in there, but National Wildlife Federation likes there to be the little registered trademark symbol after their
Oh, yeah.
name. And anywhere that you say community wildlife habitat, or certified community wildlife habitat, it gets the TM, the trademark symbol. So that's a program that they've,
I don't know how that worked, if you have to put that,
in a city.
that
I
in the
bet-
code.
It would be hard,
Well, we'll find it, Jason will know, it's Jason that worked on.
I know
But
anything
you
that
have
we've
to.
published, that, you know, if we say National Wildlife Federation on any of the publications that we make or any of the articles we have written, if they ask that it has the registered, you know, the trademark symbol after the thing, so.
Okay,
Doesn't matter on that, but.
okay, I'll ask, yeah, so I'm gonna have the National Wildlife Federation added, change that to habitat, and then talk about the registered trademark. And,
It's exciting.
yeah,
What's the next step after the language is written?
after the language is written, then John will have to submit it to, the clerk, and I'll need to sign, he and I will both sign it, and then it'll go to the council, it'll go to the agenda, so it'll be, so we have a council meeting coming up this next time, so we probably could get it on the next agenda, I would imagine. But it depends on when John comes back, so it's either gonna be on the next council or the council after that, for sure. If you think.
Will that need, support for it?
Yeah, that'll need people, so we'll need, to set our calendars to
Okay.
come and speak up for it. I have a feeling,
Will someone pitch? Someone pitch it?
yeah, we'll have a pitch for it. Well, I mean, I think definitely having someone from this group there, of course Terry, I think would be a good person, and then the folks that have been most closely involved with it, and then, of course, on the council, I'll speak for it. But it'll be way more powerful if you guys come and speak up for it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we can get some people like Bob Kalk and,
Oh, yeah,
And all
they
our
go
partners.
beyond.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Okay, so if you're good with that, I'll just recommend those 3 changes and we'll see. Now, it may be that on the trademark part, I don't know how that works with city code.
Probably not a big
I've never
deal.
seen, in reading, I've read a lot of city code, and I guess in some, maybe in manuals, but I don't know. I'll have to look. We'll just, it's a good idea. All right, the 3 different things.
I've got a question, Mike, and
Yeah.
ask this. How many are we at in terms of certification?
You did miss that, and we are at, we have about 65 more, yes,
Of regular properties, right?
of
Just
homes, yeah. We're all good on the others, on homes. But, I haven't gotten, let's see, I haven't gotten August yet, so I don't know what happened, who certified in August. So I get a report once a month, and haven't got August yet, so that one might be more than that. But we still need the final push.
Okay,
Oh, yes.
and Susan, I was wondering if you might tell about the local food. I'm gonna add it since John's not here. I'd like to add that in here.
Sure. Well, and if I could just say something more
Yeah.
regarding John Pennington.
Yeah.
The invasive species brochure, he's authorized 1,000 copies to be printed of that. And then Terry and I are working on a habitat brochure, and he's gonna print 5,000 copies, and the EAC logo will be
Okay.
on it. Not the city logo, just
The
EAC.
emblem.
And the
Yeah.
emblem,
Logo, right.
So they're gonna put a sign, right?
yes.
Sign where?
Well, that's to
We
be,
don't know yet.
to be determined. I personally like to see it along the trail, near a stream, but that have, yeah.
So they so they're developing language to describe and educate about invasive species, native plants. And they would like an EAC endorsement of it, or the ability to put EAC as an author of that.
He was here.
So John was gonna come, so we'll just try to work, get him come the next time out.
Or we have the latest draft.
Yeah, we can
Oh,
email
just
it to
send
everybody.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Get everybody to, and we can't, apparently in city, we can't really vote on things, but generally if we get a consensus that it's okay to use our emblem on that,
Okay.
I think we could do that. Okay. I know you've had huge accomplishments, seems like, in the project you're championing, which is the local foods map.
Well,
I think they are a big deal, from judging from your update email. You know,
Yeah,
everybody receives
we-
that, right?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
we, at the last meeting, we've been laying out different options, print options, website options, and we've been modeling our dream on the ASAP, the Appalachian Sustainable Agriculture Project out of Asheville.
Okay.
You know, and I went again in August and met with their director.
Hey!
He's here.
Hello, sorry I'm late. I'll hang out for a while, hang it.
Welcome.
That order of business.
And so just got some more ideas and you know, and they've been at it for 10 years and have produced this wonderful guide and interactive website, and it's really a whole community, regional, local foods setup. So, but they started with a small Xeroxed, you know, handout. So I came back and said, hey, you know, we could
Just start
let's
there.
go there. That's, you know, and I mean,
So, yeah.
we basically gave ourselves permission to start there
Yeah.
rather than looking at the end of 10 years and
Good idea.
all sorts of funding and
Yeah.
lots of people and.
Uh-huh.
No, it makes lots of sense.
Yeah, so what we decided to do was create a folded brochure printed on just, you know, regular paper, probably colored paper to make it pretty, but black ink. A simple guide that we want to get out actually in October, before the end of the market season, to distribute, to get in people's minds, to educate, and to begin to just put out the word with the note, you know, look for us and, or, you know, contact us to be involved or to be included in the spring 2012.
Mhm.
So, you know, just like I said, getting something out there, and then just to keep up the process. And all of the content, our intention is with all of the content that is in this paper brochure, we already have a website, a domain, and just to put all that content also on the website. So again, just very rudimentary, you know, the skeletal approach here, but to just get the ball, to get manifestation rolling, because we've had a lot of great ideas, and it's been very interesting to run these meetings, or to co-facilitate these meetings now with Teresa Maurer, because there is a core group, but then different people will show up, and it's just interesting. It doesn't matter how many show, we're just like, okay, we just keep moving. So we're just moving forward, and we're trying to coordinate the delivery date of this particular brochure. Mid-October, we're trying to coordinate with Hunger Week, and there's a Feed Fayetteville program that they're doing a lot. So hopefully we can pull that off. You know, we're not guaranteeing that, but that's what we're shooting for, to get it out during that time.
So, tell us, what are all the, because it seems like there have been other organizations that have stepped up to kind of help, that are helping with this.
Well, we're looking at, I mean, there are people from the university involved. There are, you know, we're in touch with various visitors bureaus to see, you know, what resources are available there.
Have you met with Marilyn? Have you met with the advertising and promotion?
I think Teresa has, I have
Okay.
not.
Okay.
Teresa is more taking care of that aspect
Okay.
of it. I am more the cat herder.
Communicator, yeah.
Literally, yeah. I mean, I'm sort of holding this thing and keeping it going and doing the communication and co-facilitating meetings and
It's a lot of work.
yeah. So
Thank you.
yeah.
great.
So
Yeah, it's really good.
I feel you know. I mean, I appreciate the congratulations. I feel pretty understated about it right now because it's like, okay, we're just gonna step this out and see what happens.
Well, I think it's an important, I guess, agreement among the group to say, produce what we can right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, and have
And it
that
was
as an
just really
achievement.
interesting to watch sort
Yeah.
of the energy shift. Like, okay, wow, let's
Yeah.
just do it. You know, sort of quick.
And it's so much easier to edit and add than
Yeah.
it is to do something from scratch. So no matter what you keep doing, it's
Yeah.
just gonna be easier to build on that than
Yeah.
to have done it in the first place.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So, and along the same lines of what we were just talking about with having an organization that can maintain this, I think that was, I remember going to the first meeting was saying and meeting with the idea of meeting with the advertising and promotion, and even if, having the sustainable mechanism that keeps this going and renewing it and so on is gonna be important, it seems.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. So,
I think, we talked about this last time too with the other one. I think with this group, the more you can say, hey, can you help us fold these brochures on Thursday night at 7 o'clock? I think that would help this group. I know it helps generally in order to get people to know how to plug in. If you see those tasks and say, we have of course the meeting is one thing, but also if you have in the development of that very specific task where people go, oh, I can do that.
yeah, then we may have, yes, the actual construction of the brochure, distribution may be a very
Okay.
specific thing that we will be able to, we will want help with too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this first thing, like I said, it's gonna be small, but it's more, again, the idea is education, exposure, and invitation. And
What's the
see where it
scope?
goes.
Or do you know?
We're planning to have minimally 30 different entries, between markets, farmers markets, CSAs, restaurants, and like grocers, vendors, like restaurants and catering, specialty eatery type things, and then grocers, vendors. So we're planning to just have those 4 categories.
Is it the 4 counties? The 4
Yeah, we're the plan is,
Cool.
the Northwest Arkansas 4 counties. Yeah, that's what we've been working with.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, well, John, thank you for coming.
Yeah, sorry I'm
No,
late.
you're fine, it's fine. So we were talking about you while you were gone.
Okay. I'm used to that. It's a normal occurrence.
Will you introduce yourself? Because I don't know that everybody knows you.
Sure. John Pennington. I'm an extension agent here in Washington County, and I do water quality, education, and outreach, in addition to agriculture type work. I've been working on a project that was targeted at the Clear Creek watershed that drains a portion of Fayetteville, directly working with streamside landowners, encouraging voluntary best management practices and doing some public policy regarding the streamside protection ordinance. We are at the end of the grant, and there's money to spend down, money to spend down. And part of spending it down is spending that money on partners that were involved with the grant. And the Environmental Action Committee did a hefty amount of research regarding different riparian issues such as flooding and damage to property and so on and so forth, and put packets together to carry to city staff and city council members. And so, in an attempt to work with you all at something that I think is kind of a mutually beneficial action here, I was talking with Cindy initially as a Fayetteville and Bloom. She was a partner as well, and then started talking with Terry and started talking with Sarah, and then she invited me to come here and talk with you all as well. But to have a native plant interpretive sign made, because I know that y'all are working on the wildlife habitat community initiative, and also members of the committee, I think, also were involved in invasive plant removal or maybe reestablishing native plants into the city, and so this seemed like a fit. And so I would like for you all to be acknowledged on the sign as a partner and having it developed, and I would also like to have your input on what this sign might include. Because time was limited and I needed to get the money spent, I've actually ordered the space. And so now the graphics are fairly close, and I brought a picture of what that sign might look like today. The language on the sign is something that's gone back and forth through a couple of different people. The layers of approval, there are some.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, different people have different interpretations of almost any definition. Semantics, you know, different words set off different alarms in people's heads, so.
Wow, can I quote you? That is awesome.
What happens, I've had it happen a lot. I can pick some words that get people upset, it seems like sometimes, but.
Different alarms.
The concept that I had initially was to have language that speaks to the benefits of the native plants, and it's got to have a tie to water quality to justify spending the money on. And so we kind of tried to tie it a little bit to water quality and riparian areas, and then we wanted to have a lot of pictures of what those plants are so that people might learn to recognize them. Now this is just the first round. As the designers told me, this was just an iteration. This is basically trying to establish a layout. Some of the pictures on there I don't think are the most appropriate pictures, and some of the language is going to be changed. That's the first draft of language on there. It's not the third draft, for example. I think we're getting close though. So there were a lot of different ideas for how to do this, and actually the recommendations that I gave to the people laying it out, I'm pretty sure they probably tried them, but they didn't work, and this is what they came back to, because we were thinking maybe a blue or gray background, and maybe having pictures arranged in a certain format. You know, we don't want the sign to be busy or too busy, but at the same time, we want to be sure that we can have as much on there as we can for educational purposes. So with that, please give me your feedback now if you have any, and then after this, if y'all want to think about it, I can send a copy of this to Sarah maybe, and she could distribute it to the rest of you all, and you could look at it in terms of, I would say, layout. And then if there's pictures that you like or don't like, they didn't even put names on the pictures, for example. I think that there should be a name
I
of
was
the
about
plant.
to say that because I can't identify things without them.
Right, you know, and I think that you really need to have that on there. Whether or not we get to the scientific name or not, I don't know if that's gonna make it, but at least a common name that can stick in people's minds. I'm really not that artistic, so I would really.
I think it looks nice. I would just conceptually, I love that it's showing the plants that we as a community would prefer you would plant. You know, there's a lot of things that talk about, that show pictures of what you shouldn't put,
What you should pull up.
what you should pull up.
But advertising and marketing experts would say, don't put the opposite of what you want in people's
Yeah.
minds. You don't put the opposite, you
I
don't
think they're,
say
yeah.
Bradberries or the pear tree.
Raspberry pears,
yeah.
right.
You don't say that because then somebody walks away saying, oh, I need to plant a bunch of
So there you go. Right, and I, of course, you want to teach them that as well, but in this case, I do like that it's showing a picture of examples of what one might suggest, so.
One of the areas of discussion, we're trying to name some of the invasive plants, not show pictures, but just name them, and city staff doesn't quite get what's invasive, and
Well,
They do
There's a
now.
lot of people
I
that
don't know.
They've been,
And I don't know who the staff is either, so that's, you know, know, there's.
Remain nameless.
There's a lot of people out there that can get feedback at any time, and who it comes from in particular isn't always revealed, so. When in case, fall back on people that have made a name on it and see if that'll work. So we did include D.L. Witzel from the Arkansas Natural Heritage Commission, and then Dr. West from the University of Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where a good portion of the third draft came from. And other than funny grammatical errors, great catch. Putting a community of plants with a community of people, for example, getting the words communities kind of in plural form, not correct, stuff like that. But
I have a question, and I'm sorry, I'm just not quite
okay.
getting this. Okay, these signs, are you gonna do them in, maybe I misunderstood what you said, in different areas around town, or is this one sign and then these acknowledgements would be on each sign?
Okay, yes, this would be one sign altogether.
With all of this on it?
Mhm.
But it would be like the size of the,
It's gonna be 3 by 4.
Okay, all right.
Where?
Where?
Well, at this point, we've been given a green light for either Gully Park or Sweetbriar Park. Those are the parks that we have been told that we can have the signs placed at. Both of those are areas where there are pretty high densities of native plants. The city staff and also Watershed Conservation Resource Center actually, I think, favor Sweetbriar Park because it's going to be more difficult maybe to have plants be trampled, whereas at Gully Park, if you want to see some of these plants, you have to walk on down into the creek in an area that's been restored. It's almost the same as Sweetbriar to me, I think. I feel like Gully Park would have more traffic.
More
and
traffic,
people
yeah,
would see
that's
it
what I would
there, then
think,
that
too.
would be
Especially if
better.
it was around the gazebo or something where they've got all those, or up where the parking lot is that has all the plants around it. Well, I don't know, those are in flower beds that wouldn't necessarily get trampled, and they've done a lot of native plantings around the, right? The gazebo and the rocks.
Oh yeah, there's plenty. So I'm really not too picky. I'll just kind of take what is offered. Beggars really can't be choosers, you know.
I guess I would add that that's where you have concert in the park.
Mhm.
You know, there's you have a population that goes there repeatedly.
Yeah, from all over Fayetteville.
That might be a selling point, as long as we.
Okay, is that that's really kind of close to where the bioswell?
Yeah, it's right around the parking lot.
Okay, so this is just a concern that I've heard from staff is, you know, they don't want too many signs in any one given area. It's a funny thing. The signs are great because they're very educational and they can help the public understand some things or learn that they might not otherwise know. But then where do you draw the line for having too many signs or, you know, a cluttered park feeling? So,
You mean the rain garden that you all built there in Gully Park that?
I was thinking of the bioswell. There's a bioswell
Around the
sign.
parking lot?
Yeah, I think that might have been part of a 319 grant.
Yeah, that's on the west side.
Okay.
So this could go on the east side of
Okay.
Gully Park.
Out over by Township.
Yeah, where they.
There where the parking lot is.
Yeah,
over
where
there.
they've restored the riparian zone there's that trail that's an extension
Yeah.
that goes, like, it's a circle, and then they've replanted a lot of that bank right in there.
I thought, you know, myself, a lot of these pictures did come from that area, and a lot of the pictures I could take from the walkway. Well, maybe I had to get off of it a little bit to get a good picture, but you can see quite a few of them from there.
So most of these people would see
You can see
in
the
Gully
real.
Park.
Almost all of these are, I've really seen good populations of almost all of these plants at Lake Fayetteville, Gully Park, and then Sweetbriar will have a lot as well. Just in searching for pictures, that's a lot of the places that I went to, because I've seen it there before. We tried to get plants, pictures of plants also that are our favorites, or maybe that have more benefits than others. A lot of these pictures came from the Watershed Conservation Resource Center. Cindy sent some in, the Master Gardener sent some in, I took some, and then we just sent them to the designers and said look through and put in places. And I think this is a rushed draft, since they do have the same picture in a couple of places. And actually, one of the pictures under the shrubs is, I think, a picture of Canadian ryegrass. I think that was the main thing in that picture. I didn't think it was a good one, but I sent it on anyway to let them choose, because I'm not the best. So, y'all feel like Gully Park somewhere on that east parking lot would be the best? If y'all really do have a recommendation, you know, we can, I think we could give that maybe to city staff and other partners in the project. And
So I guess the question is first, do you support having, you support this project and want our name on, our emblem, our name on it? Is that something that, I guess let's wanna vote?
Yes.
We
I
have
have
quorum.
one more question.
Mhm.
Okay, as far as this sign goes, so we put it in Gully Park, and if some other money comes along, is there a possibility we can put it at Lake Fayetteville,
Another one?
you
or
can,
at
sure, this,
Sweetbriar?
you know, the design, once it's designed, it can be refabricated. And then really what you're looking at potentially would just be maybe changing some of the acknowledgements. For example, if the money did not come from the
Right.
ANRC or the EPA, you know, they would need to be listed, or, you know, whoever actually did provide the money for the sign
So-
would be listed. And
We wouldn't necessarily have to have all of those plants in that area necessarily, although you are trying to make sure they are all there.
yeah,
Okay.
that was kind of the direction I was working
Okay,
towards.
well, that's good, I
I feel like it's reinforcement. If somebody can see it in a sign and then they see it out somewhere, then
Right.
they can more quickly make that connection. And, you know, if they're like me, maybe remember it a little easier.
That could be a great little school project. Go and find, whatever, butterfly bush.
Are there any,
Oh, go ahead.
are there any buildings or existing fences, structures like that this could be placed on?
There are fences, there are buildings. Not sure that park staff would prefer that the signs go on those fences at Gully Park or on the buildings. This is just based on previous conversations. You know, ideally, I think what would be the best would be a kiosk, you know, that would have rock and concrete, and a little overhang, but that costs a lot of money.
Well, kind of what I'm thinking about, and just a quick impression. I've got my walking shoes on, but I haven't tied them yet, so I'm gonna go over by this, and while I'm tying my shoes, I'm gonna say, now, these are some things I'm gonna look for in my walk. So it's kind of, you know, like the beginning, it's where we parked, usually you park right, and we're gonna go into the place, and each time I can check before I go. That's kind of the impression I was thinking about. And against the building, under the eave, protected from somebody with a spray can or something.
Which brings up another note. The city did require that these signs were made of a high-pressure laminate material that is graffiti resistant and weather resistant for up to a decade. So
Makes it pricey, right?
it does make it pricey, and I think that it makes it last longer. It gives a little bit more flexibility when putting it near some place where it might be vandalized. So, you know, I agree with you that somewhere where people are gonna see it when they're on their way, you know, doing whatever activity it is, and it would be logical for them to run across it and then.
Pause.
I visualized, I would use it lots of times until I had digested the whole thing. Each mission I would go, you know,
Good.
that's kind of how I would use it.
I think if we're following that line of thought at Gully Park, I walk in Gully Park a lot, and, the pausing point is the bioswale area, the big rocks and, or even just a little bit off of that, if you park there. Now, if you park on the east side.
You mean around the parking lot?
Yeah.
There's a rain garden that the U of A Extension built.
Down by the bathroom.
Right, and then the city built the one up around and there's a big sign with that rain garden that they did, that tells all about rain gardens.
And in all the times I go
There's
to
no
Gully
sign,
Park,
yeah.
I don't find that you make it over to that rain garden really.
I
and
go
look
to
at
Gully
that.
all the time too, and I've
No,
not ever.
you have to make it a point to
Sure,
walk down
yeah.
there. You're either
Right,
playing
but-
with the kids or you're walking.
So it's not on the path that you're
So
going
it's,
on.
it's
Yeah.
over.
so this group would like to make a recommendation that it's in a more high-traffic area
Okay.
in Gully Park.
Okay.
Would that be,
Mhm.
so,
Yes.
so we need, let's make this official and straightforward for John. So is there a motion to support the development of the sign and include our name on it?
I so move.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? All right, and then I guess the recommendation in general would be that, what's our recommendation, that it's in a high-traffic area at Gully Park?
I mean, we could even make it more specific,
Yeah.
by the east parking lot. I mean,
Who
Which
would
way is
make
east?
that final, who would make that final decision? Would
I think
Parks and Rec or?
I think Parks is gonna make
I always hit the east one myself, it's funny.
East,
How
so,
different people use different
Uh-huh,
parks and they
uh-huh.
access certain parks in different areas.
so off of Township, off of Old Wire, which, there's,
Township was where I always go, but the reason that I go there is because I'm going to look at the restoration site, which is immediately there, which might make me lazy, I don't know. It's a little closer.
so do we have a preference on, those are like the two main parking areas.
Starting
I guess.
points for.
Yeah,
Somewhere, yeah.
I would vote for township. though.
Township,
I mean, in that way, isn't the other sign over closer to the other one?
yeah, there's also, what you were mentioning, this kind of a sign where people can put bulletin board type things on,
Yeah,
right there,
right there.
as you walk in. It could either be next to that or near that, or on it.
Well, I'm kind of like a blind man in this, because I've been there a couple of times to the park, but it's not a place I go a lot. So I'm just kind of thinking in general terms of how I would use it. So I'm kind of the,
Well, there's a bench
Go
there,
forward.
kinda like you were saying, you sit down and get ready to go walk, or
or are you watching the kids and sitting somewhere and study the sign? Is there
Yeah.
a loiter, someplace where you often are waiting or something?
Yeah, there's benches around the play area, but they're kind of in the, the trails over here and the bathrooms over here, and they're kind of in the middle.
And it's, the sign there isn't gonna make you're not in the midst of some of that stuff that would be on the sign.
Could it be put on the website too, so that if you did want to use it as a teaching tool?
Oh, yeah,
could
that's a
even
great
be,
idea.
And have that whole, so that if a teacher took, or parents just ran off a copy of it?
That would,
yeah, Really
I
good
never
idea.
thought you could include brochures that are a duplicate of the sign on one side, and on the other side could actually then list, even maybe a more comprehensive list of native plants. Something that was right situated next,
Oh,
right
sure.
at the base of the sign, so that
Sure.
somebody could take it with them and.
Yeah, you guys have worked on that.
But when you get the full color, that gets pricey too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does,
That really is
and that
pricey.
way.
Well, maybe they're
that-
just a list.
Does
I
that
mean-
work? Do people just take them or throw them around the park?
Well, I was
Yeah.
wondering about that too.
I don't know.
There is there are a few brochures, Fayetteville and Bloom, with the botanical gardens and UA, and actually, I think EAC, is that another item of business?
We're working on the new one.
Yeah.
And then Fayetteville and Bloom, I wrote the biodiversity brochure and then the invasive species with Don Steinkross.
They're not brochures with pictures of what these plants are, but they're brochures that have lists of most, I believe most of these plants are, if not all, are on some of the pre-existing literature that's around town.
Well, and the one on the native plants biodiversity that I did, that is on the city website. So we can certainly put the next one that we're gonna do, and put that on the city website.
It might, or, yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just thinking around this, I'm brainstorming, you can hate it, love it, but it may be something that goes on there permanently. Just small, when you're right up next to it, you see the pictures, but then here's the list of all the others. Since these are, you can't picture everything, but you could have, I don't know.
Or
something around
maybe,
the
maybe
outside,
just put the
like
link,
a collage.
the link to the brochures.
That's
That's
what I was
online.
thinking, if you had the
Yeah.
link, because somebody that really wants to use this as a educational tool will write that website. I mean, will know
Mhm.
that.
That's
and write it down.
Now,
And
if
then
you
that
sign
way
to
you
there
don't
for
have.
10 years, is that will the link be alive for 10 years?
I mean, have links been alive for 10 years yet? I guess.
I mean.
I don't know, I mean, I'm asking if that's the
There's a
most,
bubble.
If-
Yeah,
but if
bubble.
you want a phrase instead, go to the City of Fayetteville website, or, I mean, something that points people somewhere that it will still be effective for 10 years.
No, I understand.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
and of course, if it is completely changed, I guess you change the sign, that part of it anyway.
What are the
But that
names?
takes care of not using paper and,
Well,
Paper being-
University of Arkansas, it's not, would that, I mean, you could direct them to the extension office, I guess.
Yeah, extension or
Yeah, you guys have
EAC
a
or
great
Native
Extension's
pretty
plants.
permanent.
Yeah.
Pretty permanent.
The Watershed Conservation Resource Center has really good
Yeah.
handle on where to get some of them. I would say though that right now that the Fayetteville and Bloom and Environmental Action Committee, the little brochures that have been made are one of the best, most easily to distribute and use, you know, little folder publications that there are, but they don't have the photos. But
And they're only 2 colors, so you can get 5,000 for like $600.
right, yeah.
They're really good though, they're really good. John, can
Okay.
go ahead.
I'm gonna have to leave in just a few minutes. You asked for some feedback on layout.
you bet, yeah.
The color I think is beautiful. At least for my eye, I go right to here, and this information, is less attractive. What I would suggest is breaking this up and instead of making it quite so linear, maybe grouping it and having like a paragraph here and a paragraph there.
That's initially what I was thinking would be what would happen, so all the words weren't together.
Yeah,
Because
just the eye, at least my eye, even if I want to read this, my eye is naturally drawn to here because it's so beautiful and the
Okay.
colors are so attractive.
Well, there's lots of research on that, and
That's a good idea.
just in general, people won't read all that text in one place. They
Yeah,
won't.
and these are pretty
No.
short paragraphs, so, just breaking that up
Mhm.
and,
Yeah.
that would be,
Good idea.
I agree.
And then we would want them obviously, I think, to be grouped by their categories.
Sure.
I think that makes it easier to
Mhm.
let people know kind of what they're
Sure.
looking for scale wise.
And to
And
me,
names, and at least the common names.
to
Yeah.
me,
Oh,
this
yeah.
sign is kind of just an awareness and an education tool. It's not necessarily meant to be a comprehensive guide of
Right.
every
No,
plant.
it's
It's
part
of
of your
yeah.
world.
I've just
Yeah.
about got my tennis shoes tied, and I'm looking at this. And I'm gonna, okay, at this time, I'm gonna look for that yellow flower.
Yeah.
Off I go.
Yeah.
And next time, I'm gonna look for that white
Sure.
frond.
Yeah, that's how I learned my
Good
flowers.
idea.
Yeah.
Comprehensive
I'm not
guides are in
entry
the
level.
black and white brochures and on the website.
Are you gonna put the names on these different pictures, or were you all talking? I mean,
That's the way I envisioned it.
yeah,
being,
because or at least the
'cause
common
I
name, and
like
you
to
can
know
put
the
a.
name of what I'm looking at.
Well, I do
When I go
too.
to different parks, if I'm in another state and I've never seen something before and I'm seeing it around, I know that I appreciate when I run across something that tells me what it is.
Right, because they can even, like when I learned about wildflowers, I'd take my little wildflower book out and, and when I'd find something, it was like, then go to the book and see what it was called and, have a good picture of it. So, this is great for that.
Even if there were fewer pictures and it just focused on,
And that was one question, was fewer pictures, initially.
pick 3 or 4 in each
Yeah,
category.
I think we were thinking
Well,
maybe 5 5 to 6 max is really, I think, what we were thinking of each, a bush tree or a shrub or, you know, a wildflower, a grass or a shrub. And we've ended up with 6 to 7, in some cases 8. So, you know, picking and choosing, I think the plants that have the most important ecological value maybe, and also fit with the sign. You know, I think the milkweed is really important.
Oh, absolutely.
And, you know, we've got milkweed and false indigo and cardinal flowers. Got a passion flower, goldenrod, rudbeckia, butterfly bush, and echinacea for wildflowers. It gets kind of hard when you're picking what your favorite is or what you think has the most value, but you know, the milkweed is really critical for monarch butterflies, and you know, that's really all they can have as a host plant. Under the trees, I think this is kind of a wasted picture at the top. I think they put it in to fill space. You know, the oak tree beneath it's really kind of a small oak tree.
Do they have the option of morphing those pictures out bigger and do away with some of the background so you get more picture?
So generally, this group thinks bigger pictures.
Bigger, fewer.
Yes,
Great.
bigger, fewer pictures.
I'm not spending
and
much
with
time with
names.
that background, because,
Yeah.
you know, I think it's, you know, an interesting, but I'm mostly there to see what the pictures are all about.
And when you
Well,
can't
and the tree
decide-
bark, I don't know about the tree
Yeah.
bark. There's 3 pictures of tree bark and trees. I don't think we need
I
that.
would add a pawpaw.
Oh yeah, pawpaw would be
Aren't
nice.
you glad you came in?
I am. I know where some are. We can get a
All right,
shots
I've got one in
of
my
them.
yard if we need it.
Aren't we about
Two
in
of
pawpaw
them.
fruit time right now?
Oh yeah, I think I've seen some on the ground even already. It's a tough year with being drought.
And
There's
their
not very
bloom is
many.
like way early. It's one of the most earliest blooms.
Yeah, and it's really pretty.
A little maroon.
You know, and so it does get a little challenging in some sense. It's drought year. If you didn't know somebody, they have a lot of these pictures already.
Be hard to
It's
do.
hard to get, you know, the ideal photo, because for the pawpaws, the bloom is come and gone. But, you know, I feel like there's somebody out there that's got one that we could
I
use.
know a guy that raises it.
Yeah,
Even-
I need to go as well.
Even the leaf shape.
Thank you,
Okay,
Susan.
well, that all sounds like good feedback to me.
Thank
You know,
you.
quite honestly, we're gonna have to let other people look at it too and give feedback, and then somewhere out in the middle of that, we'll come up with some common threads, and I think that'll work for us. But I'll also send it around and make sure everybody's all right with it before we get it finalized. We won't just get it to where I feel like your comments have been put in and y'all ought to be happy, and then it's made, so.
Well, thank you very much
Yeah, it's
for,
a great
for
idea.
thinking of this group and for working with people and
good idea.
the stakeholders. Thank you.
It's good work, lucky to be able to do it.
Yeah, you have a great job.
Yeah, I like it, it's pretty good most days.
Well, so to round us out, and I know, and I need to get going, but also we need to try to stick to our time frame. I would like to plan for next time to talk about some of the ideas that have been streaming around. Now, Richard has an idea, and Cindy brought up an idea about the cigarette butts that are being collected along Cleveland specifically, but not just there, it's other places.
Nice
And then
article
there's
about
also-
that in the paper.
Yes, and it was on TV too.
Yeah,
Oh, was
that's
it?
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is
I've
an
been dealing with
ordinance. You know
Yeah.
there is, don't you?
Yeah, and then
Ordinance.
Richard
Cigarette
has,
butt ordinance. You bet.
all right,
Remember
Rich,
it?
yes, I do, it's just, we need as a group to really address, make a plan of approach. And then stream team project potential, and then also I'd like to come back around to the idea of incentives for getting developers to choose socially and environmentally sustainable design.
So this is, save this for next time.
Save that for next time, I'll let you keep this copy so you don't.
I'll tell you what, why don't I just tease everybody with it and call it a.
Oh, okay.
What do you call it whenever you have clues and you go around and find places?
Like a scavenger.
A scavenger hunt, yes.
Well, this, take one of these, and maybe you would visit.
Oh, yeah, go take a tour of the
Oh,
place.
Sarah?
Yeah, I'll go and keep
Maybe you-
Somebody had fun with some software.
This is from Greg Mitchell, you know.
Greg did this? Okay, and the
Yeah.
GIS?
Yeah, I went over, asked him to kind of
Okay.
give me a general idea.
Hold on to
You're talking
these.
about,
Is
that's
it first or?
geocaching.
You want it?
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
use it.
Is that?
Yeah, it's like a
Might as well.
GPS scout.
It's, here, you can have one too. It's a,
Well, before,
it's a
so,
location, but it's.
So you wanna know what we're gonna do about cigarette butts? and-
yeah, we're gonna talk about this
Seventeen,
next time, but, so Richard, you're inviting people to kind of either drive or walk down here and take a look in firsthand, and I think that's a good idea before we then talk about it at our next meeting.
Yeah, if you would park in the parking lot at the University of Arkansas. Now, this is old imagery. The high school imagery has totally changed.
Yeah.
Yes, it has.
Now, but they don't update that until spring, so we can get up-to-date stuff.
Yeah.
And, walk along the sidewalk over there to where the stream crosses.
Mhm.
And, that'll get you in touch with what I'm,
Okay.
Walk along
We're gonna
the
propose.
sidewalk by the University of Arkansas.
Already
where the
tell you
street
a lot.
crosses
Along,
on
along Martin Luther King.
On
area.
MLK.
Yep.
Okay.
don't walk out in the street.
Right.
This will be
Thank
handy for
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, sorry. We are adjourned. Thank you for coming to the AC.